All right, Dolphins fans, it's been a wild week in Miami. The front office just made a massive move, firing General Manager Chris Greer. After years of frustration and missed opportunities, it finally happened. You could almost feel the energy shift the moment that news broke, like a weight had been lifted off this entire fan base. And now, the big question everyone's asking: what's next for the Miami Dolphins? Before we dive deep into that, make sure you're part of the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your fellow Dolphins fans. And of course, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, let's tackle the first question that's been flooding in from fans. Could Nick Saban become the next general manager of the Miami Dolphins? Let's be real, absolutely not. Nick Saban is one of the greatest college football coaches ever, but stepping into an NFL front office role at this stage of his career would be a complete disaster. The NFL isn't college. It's about salary caps, trades, and long-term roster management. That's a totally different ballgame. Saban's in his 70s now, and while he built an empire at Alabama, there's just no way he'd take on a full rebuild in the NFL. Honestly, the only positive would be the headline saying Nick Saban returns to Miami, but that's it. It would be chaos from day one. Now, on to the next topic, Mike McDaniel's future. With Greer gone, it's been confirmed that McDaniel will remain the head coach for the rest of the season. After that, the newly hired GM, likely arriving in January, will decide if McDaniel continues leading this team or if a new direction is needed. As for owner Stephen Ross, I don't think he wants this team to lose just for draft position. He's a competitor, and he wants a winning product on the field. Plus, his relationship with McDaniel is reportedly strong. The team even gave McDaniel an extension before the 2024 season. For now, it looks like Miami will ride out the season with McDaniel and let the new GM evaluate things for himself. The next few months could define the future of this franchise. That's how I see things unfolding in Miami. But what do you think? Should Mike McDaniel stay, or is it time for the Dolphins to move on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Type Y for yes if you think he should be fired, or N for no if you still believe in him. Now, realistically, if McDaniel is going to be let go, it won't happen until January, once a new general manager is officially in place. That's when the organization will truly decide which direction to take this team. As for potential coaching candidates, two names keep coming up: Jesse Minter and Chris Shula. Both are young, sharp football minds with a ton of upside. Minter, currently the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, has been earning a lot of respect around the league for his defensive schemes and leadership. There's also a fascinating connection to watch here. Chad Alexander, the Chargers' assistant GM, is reportedly a rising star who could be in line for his own GM opportunity soon. If Miami ends up hiring Alexander, there's a real chance he might bring Minter with him. The two already have an established working relationship in Los Angeles. And then there's Chris Shula, grandson of the legendary Don Shula, the man who built the Dolphins into an iconic franchise. Chris has shown strong potential as a defensive leader, and his family legacy makes him an especially intriguing option for Miami. Both of these coaches represent the kind of youthful energy and football IQ that could reignite this team's culture, but it all starts with whether or not McDaniel is replaced. Now let's shift to another crucial topic: the Dolphins' long-term GM options. If the interim GM doesn't stick around past this season, who could step into that role for 2026 and beyond? There are several strong candidates out there. Ray Agnew, Chad Alexander, Ian Cunningham, and Ed Dodds have all been mentioned in league circles. Out of those, Agnew and Dodds might be the most appealing. Agnew has been instrumental in building the Detroit Lions' impressive roster, helping draft stars like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Aiden Hutchinson, and Penei Sewell. The Lions' recent resurgence speaks volumes about his talent evaluation and team-building strategy. Ed Dodds, currently with the Indianapolis Colts, also brings a wealth of front office experience, including time with the Baltimore Ravens, where he developed a reputation for identifying blue-collar, high-character talent. And here's one more name to keep an eye on: Josh Williams, Director of Scouting and Football Operations for the San Francisco 49ers. He's highly respected around the league and could be a dark horse candidate for Miami's front office rebuild. The Dolphins are standing at a crossroads, and the decisions made this offseason could shape the next decade of the franchise. One more name worth watching is Josh Williams. He was actually a finalist for the Jacksonville Jaguars GM job last year before they went in another direction. Williams has built a strong reputation around the league for his scouting and organizational leadership, and he's someone Miami could definitely consider for a long-term front office role. So, when we're talking about the next Miami Dolphins GM, keep these names on your radar: Ray Agnew, Chad Alexander, Ian Cunningham, Ed Dodds, Champ Kelly, and Josh Williams. Each one brings a unique strength to the table, but all share a common thread: proven experience building smart, disciplined, competitive teams. Now, let's get back to the big question that has divided Dolphins fans. Should Mike McDaniel stay for next season? Some fans believe McDaniel deserves another chance. Give him a new GM, a clean slate, and the opportunity to draft his own quarterback and build the defense he wants. On paper, that makes sense. But let's be honest, this team has looked lost far too often. The offensive line has been a disaster. The defense has struggled to stay consistent. And while much of that falls on the now-departed Greer, Mike McDaniel isn't blameless either. He signed off on that massive Tua Tagovailoa extension, a move that's starting to look questionable, given the team's lack of postseason progress. Beyond that, the Dolphins have repeatedly come out flat in the second half of games, showing poor preparation and little urgency. The penalties, the missed assignments, the sloppy details, that's coaching. And when the same mistakes keep happening week after week, it's a sign that something deeper isn't working. At some point, you have to look at the core of your organization: the GM, head coach, and quarterback. That's the foundation of every great NFL team. If one piece of that triangle is weak, the whole structure collapses. Look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles: strong GM, smart coach, elite quarterback. That's why they're always in the mix. Miami needs that kind of alignment: leadership, vision, and accountability from top to bottom. Until they find it, the Dolphins will keep spinning their wheels. Just look at the best teams in football: the Lions, the Chiefs, the Eagles. All of them have one thing in common: a great GM, head coach, and quarterback. That's the formula. When those three positions are strong, everything else falls into place. But right now, the Miami Dolphins don't have that. Mike McDaniel, as creative as he is offensively, hasn't proven he can lead a complete football team. There's no doubt he's a brilliant offensive mind. His time as San Francisco's offensive coordinator showed that. He can design plays, create mismatches, and light up the scoreboard. But being a head coach, that's a whole different challenge. It's about leadership, discipline, and consistency, qualities Miami has lacked under his watch. McDaniel might one day succeed as a head coach again, but right now, he's not built to lead this Dolphins team. If it were up to me, I'd move on. And honestly, if the new GM decides to keep him after January, it'll say a lot about the direction this franchise is headed, and not in a good way. Now, let's talk trades, because that's where things could get really interesting for Miami. With a new GM and a full rebuild coming, several veterans could be on the move. Around the league, teams have reportedly inquired about players like Jaylen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Matthew Judon, and Rasul Douglas. Let's be real, Jaylen Waddle is off limits. He's one of the few cornerstone talents on this roster, and Miami cannot afford to lose him. But the rest? Very much on the table. Players on one-year deals or heavy contracts, especially guys like Bradley Chubb, might not fit the new regime's long-term vision. This front office overhaul means one thing: the Dolphins are about to reset the books and rebuild their identity from the ground up. Outside of a few young stars, Waddle, Patrick Paul, Chop Robinson, and Kenneth Grant, everyone else could be part of trade talks. So if a team calls offering a late-round pick for someone like Rasul Douglas, you take it. Even a sixth-rounder or a simple pick swap would be worth it at this stage. And honestly, Douglas has been such a consistent professional that if a contender wants him, you almost owe it to him to make that deal. Send him somewhere he can compete for a championship, and in return, you start building your own future the right way. As the Miami Dolphins navigate this new era without Greer, the front office search becomes even more critical. One of the top names floating around league circles is Ed Dodds, currently the assistant general manager for the Indianapolis Colts. Dodds has built an impressive resume, spending years with the Seattle Seahawks as a scout and senior personnel executive before joining the Colts in 2018. He's earned a reputation for sharp talent evaluation, helping construct tough, balanced rosters that compete year after year. There was some confusion among fans about whether he worked with the Buffalo Bills or Baltimore Ravens, but that's not the case. Dodds has spent his entire front office career with Seattle and Indianapolis. Still, he's widely respected across the NFL for his eye for defensive talent and his ability to find value in later rounds of the draft. If Miami could land someone like Ed Dodds, it would be a massive win for the organization, the kind of hire that could reset the Dolphins' culture and bring long-term stability to the front office. Now, as for trades, this is where things could really shake up before the deadline. The Dolphins have several veterans drawing attention: Matthew Judon, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Rasul Douglas, and even Minkah Fitzpatrick have all been discussed as potential trade chips. Let's be clear, Jaylen Waddle is untouchable. You keep that guy no matter what. But for the rest, if you can turn a few of those veterans into valuable draft capital, it might be time to pull the trigger. Imagine this. Miami trades Phillips and Fitzpatrick and somehow picks up 2 additional third-rounders. Combine that with their existing selections, a first, second, third, and Houston's third-round pick from last year's draft trade, and suddenly, you're heading into the 2026 NFL Draft with 6 picks in the top 100. That's the kind of ammunition a rebuilding team dreams of. It's not about tearing everything down. It's about reloading the right way. Build around young cornerstones like Waddle, Patrick Paul, and Chop Robinson, and let the next GM shape the future through smart, aggressive drafting. The Dolphins have a chance to turn this transitional moment into something special, but only if they make bold, calculated moves before the clock runs out. If the Dolphins were to move both Jalen Phillips and Minkah Fitzpatrick for multiple mid-round picks, they'd suddenly hold an incredible amount of draft capital, potentially 4 third-round selections, all within the top 100. That kind of flexibility completely changes what Miami can do on draft weekend. With that many premium picks, you can either load up on young talent or package a few of them to move up and grab another top 50 prospect in the second round. It opens doors for creative roster building, something the next GM will desperately need. So yes, if there's an opportunity to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick for a third or even a conditional 5th that converts higher, or move Phillips for similar value, I'm in. Those are smart, forward-thinking moves for a team trying to reset without starting over. As for who should lead this rebuild, there are several strong candidates. Names like Chad Alexander, Ed Dodds, and Ryan Grigson are all legitimate options. Each brings experience, scouting depth, and a proven track record in team construction. Whoever steps into the role must understand one thing. This isn't just about replacing Chris Greer. It's about reshaping the Dolphins' identity. Miami's roster is talented but fragile. The right general manager could turn that talent into a consistent contender. This trade deadline could mark the true turning point for the franchise, the moment Miami stopped patching holes and started building something lasting.